The only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews about some wonderful brews. I am Dan Baker, and I'm joined with my co-host,
Steph Hefner.
and we are very, very excited to announce the third Beer Buster.
Wayne Bega.
Wayne, of course, was our guest in the last episode. We had so much fun and such great conversations with him that we begged and pleaded for him to be the third member of our team.
Yes, it took a lot of arm twisting, too.
It did. It really did.
Just a little bit of beer, that's all.
Yeah, not like his free beer or anything.
Free
for
beers. Yeah.
Internet exposure, nothing like that. Yeah. But I'm very happy to have you aboard, Wayne.
Nothing like publicity and alcohol.
That is right.
Well, I'm happy to be here. Thanks a lot.
That's good. Well, how are you guys doing today?
Doing well?
Good.
That's good. Anything exciting?
Not at all. No, I just got back from Erie, Pennsylvania trip, explored 7 new breweries. Very excited about that, and hitting up all the Philly Beer Week events this week, so we've been having a blast.
That's good. Wayne, you?
Well, I joined Steph for some of those Philly Beer Week events this past weekend and had a rockin' good time.
That's good. Yeah, I was with you for a couple of them on, what was that, Sunday?
Yeah, there's photographic evidence on Facebook.
Yes, evidence that proves that we actually do like each other.
Yes.
Yeah. I just came back from Seattle about a week or so ago. I was out there for a wedding, and I got to go to the Red Hook Brewery, which was absolutely amazing. They have it's great beer. The brewery is a good atmosphere. I'll go in depth into that a little bit, but in the interest of time, why don't we get started with our news?
I thought that was an outtake, Dan.
No, well, it started off as an outtake, but then it wound up being so good, and somehow I accidentally matched it up perfectly with that music news. That news music? Yeah, that. There we go.
It's like the great John Rhys Davies says, 90% of improvisation is by its very nature crap, but the 10% that isn't is golden.
That is right. So there's only a couple news stories that I found for the day. And actually, Wayne, you pointed one out to me. But the one that I saw was actually something that Steph had shown me. I'm a huge Simpsons fan. It's one of my favorite shows, longest-running cartoon on TV, basically. Could be one of the longest-running shows ever, except for all those, those soap operas and everything.
I think Doctor Who ran longer.
Didn't that have a hiatus for a while?
Yeah, maybe a decade or two, but still.
Decade or two. Only 20 years, yeah. But one thing that makes me very happy is that Universal Studios in Florida, they've added a few Simpsons things. They took over the Back to the Future ride, made it a Simpsons ride. They have the little fast food alley right now that's a couple of Simpsons restaurants. But next year, I think it's going to be next year that they're opening, they're going to have this Simpsons theme park, basically. It's a section of the whole Universal Studios game. Yeah. Park. Sectioned off as the Simpsons, kind of like they did with the Harry Potter stuff. But they're going to be serving Duff beer. They're going to have Duff Beer, Duff Light, and Duff Dry. And, of course, you can go get it at Moe's Tavern, which is pretty awesome. In fact, Moe's is currently open. You can go in and get a Duff Beer pretty much right now if, of course, we were in Universal. The company that's going to be making the beer is Florida Beer Company. They are a craft brewery out of Melbourne, Florida, which is about 70 miles outside of Orlando. The labels are online. They look exactly like they do in the cartoons, the Duff logo to the T. I kind of hope they get Duff Man involved. But, yeah, if you happen to be in Universal, you can go to Moe's Tavern. You can get a Duff beer. And it's really exciting because this is the official version of it. There was a guy, I think in Brazil, somewhere in South America. He made Duff beer a couple of years ago. Got sued by 20th Century Fox. Rightfully so. But now they have actually made their own official Duff beer.
So you said they had Duff Light and Duff Dry.
Duff Dry.
And now,
yes.
Has that ever appeared in the show, or is
yes.
that just? Oh, it has.
Yes,
okay.
They have Duff. There was also a German one. It was I forget the name of it.
Duffenstein.
No, it was like Duff Brow. I think it was
Duff Brow.
Duff Brow.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to make that. So Universal, game on.
Very cool. We'll have to go down and review the brews.
Yeah. Oh, and if you go to Moe's Tavern, you can also get a Flaming Moe.
Yes, but can you get a Flaming Homer?
Unfortunately not. Yeah, but thank you for bringing that up. The Flaming Moe, however, it's neither alcoholic or on fire. So, but still, it's pretty cool that you can have that on the menu. So, Wayne, I'm going to leave the next one up to you. This was pretty exciting. You put this on our Facebook the other day.
Yeah, this is something I came across just the other night as I was doing some beer-related research on the internet. There is a new brand of beer that is going to be released in the very near future, or already has been. My apologies, it's been a long night. It is called Hops, and I think from the name you can guess who's made it. That's right, the late 90s pop band Hanson, who's apparently still around and is still making music, is going to release their own brand of beer called Hops to celebrate the 21st anniversary of the band's formation. So I thought that was a little interesting. I hadn't heard of Hanson in God only knows how long. I did think it's a little telling that their beer celebrating the 21st year of their existence is still named after their first single, because that's probably the only thing that anybody really knows them for anymore. I poke fun, but actually the brewery, which is brewing the beer, is located in Oklahoma and apparently was affected by the recent tornadoes. The community was apparently one of the first places that the band performed together, and including some of the schools which were lost in the storm. So they're going to have some merchandise related to Hops available, and proceeds from that are going to go to the Red Cross to aid in those disaster relief efforts. So we can make fun of Hanson all we want, and I certainly enjoy doing so, but that's something really cool that they're doing.
To be fair, though, Mbop is still a song that everybody has to sing. I was out at a bar the other night, actually, and it came on, and it was they went straight from Backstreet Boys to NSYNC to Hanson and Mbop, and literally everyone in the bar was screaming the top of their lungs.
The trifecta.
It's like Ice Ice Baby of the 90s.
That's true. I mean, you hear that, you have to start singing it. Yeah.
It is a catchy tune.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is going for a good cause, which is great. So if you have the chance to get it, I recommend doing so. I mean, it's definitely a good cause.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to give it a taste and see what it's like.
So now that we covered a little bit of news, why don't we go into the brewery review? So as I said, I was out in Seattle recently for a wedding, and I had a great time out there. I tried a couple of new beers overall. There was Deschutes was a brand that I had, but Red Hook was the one that really got my attention. And I found out that the rehearsal dinner that we were doing was at the Red Hook Brewery, which was amazing. They underwent this whole big remodel of where they are. Unfortunately, I didn't get to take a tour. They do tours every hour on the hour until about 5 o'clock at night for $1. Where you go in, they'll let you sample a couple of their beers, which every beer I've had of theirs was amazing. But you go around, you learn about them and everything. And then either after you're done, you can go into their gift shop, buy a shirt or whatever, or you can go sit down at their bar, have some more, or you can eat. They have some really good food. The one thing that really excited me was they had bacon steak. For those of you who don't know, I am a huge fan of bacon. Who isn't, except for Steph?
Wow.
Yeah.
There's always bacon.
Yeah, that doesn't count. And the only time turkey bacon is acceptable is Thanksgiving. But they had bacon steak. And it wasn't just steak wrapped in bacon. It was a slab of pork belly.
Wow. It was a steak-shaped bacon.
Yeah, exactly. It was quite possibly one of the best things I have ever eaten in my entire life.
Probably one of the most unhealthy as well.
More than likely. But I enjoyed it. Oh my God, was it so good. The beers they had, there's a huge variety that they had. I had the Audible Ale, which was great. The what really gets me with that one, the tap that they have is a microphone.
Oh, perfect.
Because they use that in conjunction with Dan Patrick, who's a sports announcer guy, for those of us that are into sports. No, he I guess they have some endorsement deal with him or whatever, and it winds up being this microphone, which is really what attracted me to it. I also had their Long Hammer IPA, which was pretty good. They had Double Black Stout, which was a really good coffee stout they had there. And there was other food that was really good too. There were, they had burgers. They had a good vegetarian and vegan fare for those of us that
Excellent.
are into that kind of thing. But overall, it was just a great environment. If you end up in the Seattle area, I really recommend checking them out. They have a location in New Hampshire as well. If you're able to try their beer, if you're able to go to their brewery, I recommend it. And hopefully you have a little more luck going on a tour than I did. Make sure you get your tickets early for it because they fill up fast.
And that's Red Hook. Is there beer available outside of the immediate area there? Is it available?
It is. I don't know their wide distribution, but I was at a restaurant in Philly. I think it was at like a Champs or something. They had a brew on hand called the ESB. I believe it stood for Extra Special Bitter. It was really good. I was very happy that they had it. I was pretty happy when I tried it, which made me all the more excited to go to the brewery.
Check it out.
Very cool. Hey, should we talk about some of the events we attended this week?
Absolutely. This week is Philly Beer Week. It is the #1 event for beer in Philadelphia. This year,
I say it's the number one beer event, period,
that's
in
true.
my opinion.
That's true.
In
Philly
the
Beer Week.
universe.
It's the original beer week, if I remember right.
Arguably, yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is. And if I remember correctly, in some of my other beer research, Philadelphia is the city in the United States that has the most or has had the most breweries ever.
Well, Pennsylvania has had the most breweries in history. Not currently, but in its history,
okay.
it's had more breweries than any other state. Yes, that's true. So on Saturday, Wayne and I were in Philly, and we hooked up with our pals at Varga Bar in Center City, Philly. We went to their pinup barbecue block party event where we saw the pinup girls from their calendar, and we had a few beers there. And it was really hot in the sun, so we're like, hey, we're near the Foodery. Let's walk down a block and go in some air conditioning. And we were lucky because we saw Shawnee Craft was doing a tasting there. And we met up with Jason and Ryan from the brewery. Jason's actually from the brewery. Ryan is their Philly guy. And we tried 2 brews there. One of them was a raspberry beer, wasn't
Yes,
it, Wayne?
that
And
was my favorite.
It was really good. I think it was a raspberry blanche. They used fresh, organic, frozen raspberries in the beer, and it was memorable. And they had their session porter there as well. But the exciting thing was we heard from Jason that they're going to be putting a new tasting room in at the brewery, and they're going to start doing brewery tours. Now, I've been there at the pub before, but I'm excited to hear that this is going on. So I've been in contact with Jason, and he's going to get us some information. So hopefully we'll be able to share some news on our Facebook page. So Sunday, Dan and I hooked up in Philly, and I started my day at Brew, which is a new beer garden that just opened a couple months ago in Center City. It's an indoor German beer garden, and my pals from Naked Brewing were there. Brian, the owner who I had met before, awesome guy, very energetic. I got to meet their brand new head brewer that they just hired, Matt, and he had 2 of his brews that he had brought to the table, an alt beer, Altergeist, which was phenomenal. I have to say, one of the best alt beers I've ever had, and a sour saison that he also had on tap. And I was excited to hear from Brian and Matt that they're going to be starting a bottling line soon. So they invited us to stop by the brewery sometime, and we'll definitely have to take them up on that. And then Dan met up with me, and we were at Notting Head, very cool, on Sansom Street in Philly, and we were there for their sour event, and Tommy Arthur from Port Lost Abbey was there. We got to meet him and try some of his sour beers, and Notting Head debuted their Funky Tears beer, which is Crosby's Tears, but it's been aged and soured, and it was phenomenal, and it was one that Dan and I could both relate to.
Yes. Now, for anybody who isn't sure which Crosby we're referring to, it is Sidney Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who is arguably the most hated player in the NHL. And I put it on our check-in on Untapped and everything, and I made my own little joke, and I was very proud of it. Sidney Crosby's pain never tasted so good.
Absolutely. And since the Bruins are destroying the Penguins right now, and I know that Dan's Flyers dislike the Penguins, it's all good. It's a beer we could both enjoy together.
Thank you for not bringing up this travesty of a season for the Flyers.
Sports rivalry.
Yes, but at least the 2 rival teams here, Philadelphia versus Boston, we can be brought together over our joint hatred of Sidney Crosby.
And joint love of beer.
Yes, including a beer that is named after his tears.
Beer brings many disparate types of people together.
Yes, absolutely. So now we want to try a new segment today. Wayne had the awesome idea. In fact, Wayne, I'll let you explain it.
Sure, yeah. I decided that we're going to try and have a little fun here. I want to start doing some kinds of games and things like that. As a first run through, I'm going to present a little trivia game. I've even written an intro and everything, so I'm going to try and get through this. Here we go. We here at Beer Busters are dedicated to bringing you the best news and reviews of the finest brews, but it is also our mission to ensure that you, our burgeoning batch of Beer Buster besties out there in podcast landy, are thoroughly entertained in the process. So, in that spirit, it's time for me to attempt to stump Steph and subvert her sagacious Subsy wisdom, dumbfound Dan and derail his draft discernment, and trip up and tongue-tie myself with an unnecessary, unnatural, and egregious amount of alliteration. It's time to play Beer Busters Brain-Bending Brew Trivia.
All right. I love that intro.
So here's how it works. A total of 5 questions will be asked from 4 categories, each containing 3 questions. 2 will vie for victory, and only 1 will triumph. Dan and Steph will alternate choosing categories. Both will write down their answers, and we'll see who piles on the points. And just to keep things interesting, I reserve the right to arbitrarily award points for clever and creative answers or for any other reason that I see fits. So, without further delay, it's time to present the categories.
All right.
4 categories, and these are what they are. Category number 1 is the science of suds. Category number 2 is ersatz beer stats. Category number 3 is brew through the ages. And the final category is notable French philosophers of the 19th century.
What?
All right.
So, since, Dan, you are my closest relative in the room, I think it's only fair that Steph choose the first category.
I was going to say Steph should choose.
All right, let's do beer stats.
Beer stats? All right, let's go with stats, Burr stats. The first question is, of the top most popular beverages in the world, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic, where does beer rank? Of the top most popular beverages in the world, where does beer rank? You write down your answers, please, and once you've both written them down, we'll reveal them. Steph says, what do you say, Steph?
Second.
And Dan says?
Second also.
Oh, they agree, and unfortunately, you are both wrong. Oh, incorrect. Beer is actually the third most popular beverage in the world. The third. But for 5 bonus points,
Ooh.
can either of you tell me what the first 2 most popular beverages are? Now,
Do I have to write it? Do I have to write it?
No, you
Bourbon
guys-
and rum.
I was going to say Coke.
We're talking both alcoholic and non-alcoholic.
I'm
Oh.
going to say Coke is 1, Pepsi is 2.
All right. You might want to think a little more generically, but that's your answer.
Soda
Soda
is
and
1.
coffee.
No, you're both just terribly wrong. The most popular beverages in the world is unsurprisingly water.
Yeah, it's
Milk.
overrated.
The second most popular
I wouldn't
is
say milk. I
not
wouldn't say
milk,
milk.
not
I-
milk. There's water in it, as there is in most drinks.
I was
But,
going to say what drink doesn't
but we're
have
thinking
water?
brew. We're thinking brew. Tea. Tea is the
Okay.
second most
Now,
popular.
does that include iced tea or just tea in
that's
general?
that's just tea. Well, iced tea comes from tea. That's
Well,
just
yeah,
iced.
Tea
so.
that's just as
I didn't know if it's hot tea
It's
or
the
iced tea.
I'm sorry, I didn't delve that far into
Well
my
then,
research.
can there be like a 2A
However,
and a 2B?
you will be happy to know that beer is the #1 most popular alcoholic beverage on the face of the earth.
No surprise
Yay.
there.
That's good. That's good. So
Yeah.
no points on that one, unfortunately. Dan, why don't you choose a category?
All right, let's go with the science of suds.
The science of suds. Question here. At the heart of brewing beer is the chemistry of fermentation. What is the science of fermentation called? The science of fermentation. What is it called? The science of fermentation. The science of fermentation. What is it called? All right. Steph says it is.
I don't know. That's the science of beer.
Steph says zymergy. Thanks. You can read your own answer here. And Dan says fermentology. I think Dan gets 2 points for
All right.
for creativity there. Steph is actually right. Zymergy is the science of fermentation, which is the basis of all beer brewing. Now, there's no bonus points here, Steph, but I wonder if you could tell me what my fun fact related to Zymergy is, because I think you might know.
There is a magazine named after
You are absolutely correct. The
Yay.
Journal of the Home Brewers Association
And guess
is
what?
called Zymergy.
I received that journal.
You received that
So
journal.
I better
then
know
you should
that.
probably know the title. They're like, what the heck? You get 2 points.
Yay.
All right.
All right. Now, Steph, why don't you pick another category?
All right. Let's do Brew Through the Ages.
Brew Through the Ages. And the question is, we all know that Yuengling Brewery in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, which isn't too far from here,
Yay, local
and I think
beer.
Steph is already writing her answer, is the oldest continually operating brewery in the United States. What is the oldest brewery in the world?
In the world?
Oh, no. See, that's what happens when
I
you don't
knew
wait
this.
until the question's
I
done.
knew this.
Dan knows the answer. No cheating.
He looked at my paper.
Thinking.
I tried,
thinking.
but I
the
didn't
oldest
see
brewery
anything.
in the world. Where do you think it is? What country do you
I'm
think it
gonna
would be
go
in?
with Germany.
Deutschland.
You think it's in Germany? Okay. So come up with a cool German name. Dan is writing Hofbrauhaus.
Hofbrauhaus, that's what I'm going with.
Hofbrauhaus is not the correct answer.
No.
However, Steph, who said
Weinstefaner.
Weidenstefaner is the correct answer. The oldest continually operating brewery in the world is Weidenstefan Brewery in Freising, Germany. So that's 10 points to Steph.
And it
now
opened
there's
in like 10, 20 something.
well,
Yeah.
okay, that was going to be my bonus question for
sorry.
5 points. What year does it open? Did it
10.
open? Steph says 1020. What year do you
10.
say?
I'm going 1020.
No, you got to pick something different. It's like it's,
1026.
1021.
you're saying 1021. You're saying
1026.
You're saying 1026. You changed your answer.
Why should I know?
Is that your final answer?
Can I use a lifeline?
Yeah, we don't know. There's no lifelines, unfortunately.
I was going to say my lifeline would be Steph.
That's certainly not allowed. 1026 is your final answer.
Sure.
1026, and you say 1021.
1021.
All right. Well, since you changed your answer, Steph, you are closest. The year is actually 1040.
Yes!
Apparently, a brewery license was issued in the city of Freising in 1040, and that is the founding date claimed by the modern brewery. So I'm going to give you another 5 points for that. Why the heck not? All right, who chose that category?
I think I did.
Yes.
I think you did. So, Dan, it is your turn.
I'm going to go with notable French philosophers of the 19th
Notable
century.
French philosophers of the 19th century. There's actually no questions in that category, but since you were brave enough to choose it, you get 10 bonus points. Yes! Awesome. All right, so moving along. Why don't you pick the next category, Steph?
Let's do Brew Through the Ages again.
Brew Through the Ages again. The second question in this category is the very first international trademark was given to a beer company. What company was it?
Can you repeat? I'm sorry.
The very first international trademark was given to a beer company. What company was it? The first international trademark was given to what beer company? What beer company was it given to?
Oh, no.
What beer company was? Oh,
hey, music.
The band quit. They've walked out. All
Stop
right.
looking at my paper.
And Dan's answer is
Budweiser.
And Steph's answer is
I said Hofbrau.
You said Hofbrau, and you are both wrong. It is actually Bass. Bass Ale.
Wow.
Yes, Bass Ale was awarded the first international trademark ever.
And what year was that? Do you know?
Bonus points. What year was it?
Oh, geez.
Guessing. First international trademark, roughly.
I'm going to go with
within
1964.
Decade, maybe century.
I'll say in the 1800s.
You said
really?
we
I said a year.
no
You say
idea.
a
You can't
century.
pick an entire century.
You said.
No,
Like,
I said.
you
just
said a
meant-
decade.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have a 100-year spread.
And
so
think
pick a
we
year.
haven't had any beer yet.
This is true. Okay, 1940s.
You say 1940s, and you said 19.
I'll go with the 1960s if we're picking the entire
1960s.
decade.
Oh, we're picking. Well, it doesn't really matter because you're both wrong. Wrongington. It was 1876. The red triangle logo of Bass Ale was the first trademark to be registered under the United Kingdom's Trademark Registration Act of 1875. When that law went into effect on January 1st, 1876, somebody from the company actually camped out overnight New Year's Eve from 1875 to 1876.
That is dedication.
Just to be the first to register the trademark.
Wow.
So no points awarded there, and that was Dan who chose that category, I believe.
No, that was Steph, because
That
I
was
chose
Steph?
the
All right.
philosophers to give you.
Yeah, I'm just an incredible game show host, let me tell you.
It's okay. It's the first go of it. I think you're doing a pretty spectacular job.
So Dan, why don't you pick the next and last question?
Okay, let's go with Brew Throughout the Ages.
Brew Through the Ages, the third and final question in that category, the fifth and final question of the game. Dan, you have 12 points. Steph,
Yay.
you have 27. So we're going to go ahead and say this last question is worth 50 points.
Yes, I have a chance.
So the question is, when Yuengling was founded in 1829, which was not, by the way, the answer to the previous question.
I knew that, by the way.
It was not called Yuengling. What was it called?
Oh, no. No.
What was Yuengling called when it was first founded? It was not called Yuengling.
Oh, no, I know
Not
this.
called DG Yuengling and Sons. It was what was it called? It was called something entirely different.
Oh, I can't.
Entirely different. And looking like you're both writing something similar. Dan.
Wow.
Dan says, what did Dan say?
I said Pottsville Brew.
And what does Steph say?
I said Pottsville beer.
Pottsville Brew and Pottsville Beer are both incorrect answers. Wow, you guys are doing terribly. The correct answer is the Eagle Brewery.
Eagle.
Oh, you knew that. Yep, I knew you knew
that.
that. You knew
Oh
you knew
my
that,
gosh.
but you
That's
you
embarrassing.
didn't know it when it counted.
That is embarrassing.
Didn't know it when it counted.
I know.
But there is a bonus question here,
Ooh,
and this
hey.
bonus question is worth 7,000 points. Bonus question is, Yuengling retains the image of an eagle on the labels of all of its beers except which?
Oh God.
One
Oh, God.
beer. One beer does not have... Steph throws her paper in my face.
Whatever. I forget the.
right.
Oh no! I know. No.
Oh, Dan's changing his answer.
No,
Dan
I know,
is changing his answer.
I know.
An answer change is happening. Oh, and Steph is cheating by checking a six-pack of Yuengling Oktoberfest, which happens to be sitting in the corner.
Oh, Dan, I think you got it.
And Steph said,
I said the Bach.
he said the Bach, and Dan said,
Lord Chesterfield.
which is the correct answer for 7,000 points. That makes Dan our inaugural winner here on Beer Busters Brain Bending Brew Trivia with a
I
score
demand a recount.
of 7,012 to 27. He trounced you.
Yes.
Trounced you.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. So, Dan will be the first winner of our trivia game here, and he earns the inaugural spot on our leaderboard.
We have a leaderboard.
We do now.
All right. Cool.
But that's not the end. That's not the end.
That is not the end.
There is one last
This is going to
thing.
be pretty exciting if I think it's what it is.
It is what it is, because now we're going to test your knowledge, our Beer Buster boos out there in interweb land, or at least test your ability to Google things. So, take off your beer goggles and put on your thinking caps, because this last question is for you. The first person to email the correct answer to info@beerbusterspodcast.com will win some piece of awesome Beer Busters swag to be announced. Info@beerbusterspodcast.com. Answer this question. We've all heard many of the crazy kind of Greekish terms for irrational fears or phobias out there, like arachnophobia, acrophobia, and triskaidekaphobia. But there's one fear that I think we can all relate to that I think Steph already knows the answer to.
I think I know what the question is, and I just read this yesterday.
It's all over, so you guys should not have any trouble finding it, but it's the first person to answer correctly that counts. What is the term for the fear of an empty glass? That's right. What is the term for the fear of an empty glass? Send your answer to Send your answer to Beerbusters Podcast.
Info at Beerbusters.
Podcast.com.
Or just go to our website and click contact. With the words episode 3 trivia in the subject, just to help us stay organized, if you would be so kind. The first correct answer will win a piece of Beerbusters swag. Again, what is the term for the fear of an empty glass? Send that info to
Send that answer.
Don't send info. Info is explosive. Do not send info. Send your answer to info at beerbusterspodcast.com. This is why Dan is the professional speaker and not me.
Yeah, something like that.
But that's going to do it for our first edition of Beer Busters Brain Bending Brew Trivia. Until next time, thanks for playing.
Thank
Good
you,
job,
Wayne.
That
That
was
was
awesome.
really, really good. I had a lot of fun doing that.
And now I have a fear of an empty glass, and I think we need to get tasting.
I believe so,
That
too.
sounds good
yeah,
to me.
let's have some beer. I don't have any music for that, so Steph, go ahead.
Waiting.
All right, let's have some beer.
So I brought some beers back from my trip to Erie, Pennsylvania a few weeks ago, and I stopped by Lavery Brewing Company in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I picked up some of their Leopold Ord, their farmhouse ale, which is unfiltered and bottle conditioned, and the one we picked up has Brett in it, which is that lovely sour yeast that Dan loves so much. And this French-style saison is very floral and hoppy and fruity, and they use 5 types of grains in this one, as well as their estate hops and 3 different yeast strains. The name is Irish for gold leopard, and that appears on the Lavery family crest. And if we take a look, and this is the one in the big glass, my friends, we're drinking out of our Beer Buster podcast pint glasses. We take a look at it. It has lots of fluffy white foam when we first pour it and we hold it up. It's that nice hazy yellowish color, lots of carbonation. You should smell that fruitiness, that tartness, a little bit of funkiness. What do you think of the taste?
Fantastic.
It's really good. It starts really fruity and then gets a little spicy in the end and very dry and crisp. Overall, this is one of my favorite beers that Lavery made. I got to try quite a number of them when we visited the brewery, and I was very excited about this one.
To recycle a term I think I used on our last episode, it is quite a thirst-quenching beer.
Absolutely. Now, they take this same beer and they oak age it. They oak age it with raspberries, pineapples, and also blackberries. And the one we have here has been aged with blackberry, and if you hold it up and you take a look at it, it's definitely a little maybe pinkish in the color when you compare it.
peachish,
Yeah, I can see that. It's dark and cloudy a little bit, and it doesn't look like it's going to rain, though.
Like all the nights of my soul.
And when you taste this one, you definitely get the blackberries. I mean, it's amazing. The aroma, as soon as I opened the bottle, I didn't even have the bottle up to my nose, and I could smell the blackberries.
Normally,
absolutely delicious.
Normally, I'm not a fan of beer that use fruit or any kind, and I've had some pretty bad apricot beers. I've had some pretty bad blueberry beers, too, but the blackberry in here is actually... It's a good taste.
Yeah, I talked to Jason Lynch, one of the brewers from Lavery, and they said that they like the idea of layering light fruity flavors, but knowing you're still enjoying a really good saison. So cheers to them for doing that. I also picked up a bottle of the raspberry. Actually, they gifted me with these beers, which was pretty awesome. And excuse me, they also have one with pineapple. It has light pineapple sweetness, and I'm excited to get back there at some point to try that one. So overall, these are 2 very delicious brews from Lavery.
But we had a really good pineapple beer down in Philly when we were at the Institute. Was it? Do you remember what it's called? I can't remember what it's called.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, there was a fruit beer event that Wayne and I had gone to for Philly Beer Week, and
probably should have figured that out beforehand.
I looked on the board and I tried to find one beer that I had never had before, and they had this pineapple beer, and I was a little. I was wondering about it a little bit, and we tasted it, and it was very refreshing, and it was very, very tasty.
Especially just because coming in out of the heat, because it was kind of hot down there that
very,
day.
very hot.
Saturday was oppressively hot.
Yeah, it was. It was really. But yeah, it was really good. Like you said, Dan, not all fruit beers get there.
There it is.
It was called Hala Kahiki.
Hala Kahiki pineapple ale from Rivertown Brewing. That was really, really tasty.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
So next we're going to move on to that beautifully waxed. Oh, I hate to open these.
I'm afraid to
Oh, it
open
looks
this.
like
Is there like a technique here? Or do I just
Go,
I think you have to cut the wax.
We
and
have to
then,
get the wax off.
do I need like a rapier to like
I don't have a knife or
sword
anything
of
on
some
me either.
sort, or-
We should have thought this part through.
I thought there'd be like a tab you could pull.
This one is from Voodoo Brewing Company. It's their Grand Met. It's the Layered Apple Brandy Barrel Grand Met. It's their original Grand Met, or their Grand Master. It's an ale made from their proprietary yeast from a small brewery in Belgium, and they use cane sugar and beet sugar and German Pilsner malt. And during fermentation, they slowly add the sugars to allow the yeast to more slowly ferment the beer without overloading the yeast for a clean flavor profile. When I visited Voodoo, I got to meet the head brewer, Kurt, and he personally hand waxed every single one of these bottles. So it pains me a little
You
too.
did a good job.
I think it's paining Wayne to open it, literally.
It's like the wax that you get on the top of a bottle of Maker's Mark, which I always thought was a pretty cool feature. But to have it actually hand waxed by the brewer,
Yeah, it was really,
Is,
and
yeah.
I had the Grand Met, the original brew, and it was served to me by him. It was really awesome to sit there at the bar and have him personally serve me these beers and tell me the story behind the beers. I also got to meet Matteo, who is Kurt's brother, and he is the COO there. And he emailed me some awesome pictures and information from the event that they had when they released this beer. It was hosted on March 23rd at the brewery, and it was part of their Barrel Room collection, which included the Buffalo Trace Black Magic, the Pappy Van Winkle Black Magic, this particular beer, the Pappy Van Winkle Black Voodoo, Big Black Voodoo Daddy. They had a limited amount of bottles of each of these beers, and people lined up hours and hours ahead of time, and it was freezing cold. There was snow on the ground, but they were there for the beers, and they thought it was quite a success, this event, and they're looking to do another one this September, Matteo says, and they'll be releasing more information about what they have in store in the release on their Facebook page in the next coming months. But he promised me that it will feature some never before seen beers from Voodoo, and possibly like a wee heavy or a barley wine. So some more barrel treatments going on. Very exciting. So when we finally get to hold this one up,
I just want to say that when I did finally get the bottle open, the aroma really just pops right out.
Whoa.
Yeah,
wow.
really does.
It's a beautiful hazy golden orange color with some mild carbonation, but wow. You get that smell of fresh picked apples, that sweetness, but you can smell the alcohol. It's amazing.
Can they make a cologne out of this?
You know what it actually reminds me of? I had one time Amontillado. Which is a type
Was
of...
it in a cask?
It was not in a cask. It was in a bottle. But it was at the premiere of an independent short film that I had done based on the cask of Amontillado. We actually had a bottle of it. And the smell and the flavor, it has that sort of almost syrupy type smell to it. It reminds me a lot of Amontillado.
Yeah, and it tastes like a really good... It's like a caramel cider, basically.
It's amazing.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
it's
I
got like
think
a maple syrup.
And I think it's only 9.5, but you taste the alcohol. It
does
almost
seem-
tastes
But
like
it's-
more than 9.5.
It's not an overbearing alcohol
No,
taste.
it's
It
not.
fits it so well.
Is it smooth, Dan?
I was just going to say, it's very smooth.
Oh wow, yeah, it's great. It's a little woodsy, maybe a little cinnamon. That cinnamon apple. I feel like I should put this over some vanilla soy ice cream. It's really good.
Or some real people's ice cream.
Yeah.
Do we even want to move on from this?
This is really good.
So next we're going to be reviewing the Voodoo cider that we have here. I just want to review it again.
Absolutely.
really
Well,
good.
I got one more. We stopped at Erie Brewing Company in Erie. It's actually located quite close to Lavery.
And it's a lot easier to open.
Yeah, I was gonna say bottles not as cool, but easier to open.
Yeah, so it's under some new ownership now, so they have some new upcoming things going on. We got to meet their intern, Kelsey, who is an awesome chick. I chose their cherry. It's called Derailed Black Cherry Ale. I thought that would go well since we were having an apple brandy beer and a blackberry aged beer sort of go with the more intense fruity flavors. So if you hold this one up, it has lots and lots of carbonation. It's nice and clear, a little orangey, maybe even a little pink.
I don't see any pink in this.
Reddish or pinkish.
Maybe it's
or-
the vantage point that I have.
A slight
What is
tinge.
the aroma to you? It's
Oh, that's different.
it's different.
It reminds me of something I can't think of.
I'm thinking cherries, but I think it's just because I see that on the bottle. But
Yeah.
It's definitely unlike anything else.
You know, yeah, it kind of smells a little bit like cherry wheat does. It has the same scent as that. But
it's that you're right. It's like that the wheatness, the grassiness of the wheat with I think that fruitiness hidden behind it.
Ooh, and you can taste the cherry too, and it's not too strong.
Yeah,
Right.
It really
It's
comes out in the
nice.
taste, but yeah, like it's not really
Like Sam Adams makes their cherry wheat, and that is like intense cherry. It almost tastes like a beer with cherry syrup thrown into it. But this is nice because it's just the cherries in the background. You still get the beer, which is really nice.
Oh, that's good.
This is really, really good.
I mean, it's good, but I want to go back to this voodoo. This is
Yeah,
just
I'm gonna
out
take
of,
another
out
sip
of
of that
control.
one.
This is amazing.
I've already finished mine.
But I have to say, overall, my trip to the Erie area was phenomenal. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring any beers back from my favorite brewery of the trip, which was Blue Canoe, which is located in Titusville, actually less than a mile from the famous oil well. They just had amazing things going on. They had an American Light Lager of all beers. I would never go for the American Light Lager, but it was so good and so thirst quenching after being out in the sun all day. And they also had a blueberry porter that was phenomenal. And again, it wasn't that sickening sweet blueberry syrup taste. It was a nice, fresh. It was delicious. The head brewer at Blue Canoe worked with Matt Allen from Voodoo for quite some time before starting Blue Canoe. And I know Matt Allen was big when they helping out with Blue Canoe when they first opened. But they have a great thing going there. That is a do not miss if you happen to be in Northwest Pennsylvania.
So on that note,
I was waiting for the crickets.
Yeah.
I didn't put crickets on my soundboard. I knew
we
I
need
should
to
have.
get
It was
that.
there. I saw it, but I
So
didn't
I
do it.
just start drinking like, oh, this is really good.
Oh man.
We're recording a podcast.
You get
Oh, that's
lost.
right.
So
I
that'll
forgot.
be an edit out.
You get lost.
I
in
was
that.
waiting for him to transition us because I figured we were over time.
I thought you were still talking. I kind of want to leave this in. Are you okay if we leave this in the podcast?
Actually, whatever.
Especially now that I've asked that question.
now we have to. I did want to just provide a little disclaimer here. If we're a little off our game tonight, we've had a slew of problems.
That's an understatement.
Of a technical nature here as we were getting set up today. We actually had to run out and buy new equipment.
We did.
just to record today's episode.
We did.
So.
We were in the middle of recording. We had about 10 minutes already recorded, and
We almost resorted to using cassette
yeah,
tapes.
it was not pleasant. But now I finally have equipment that works. We're able to get on with the show, and I love it. The only complaint that I have is Wayne and Steph, you two are sharing a microphone, but hey, we're recording. We're having fun.
right.
That's all that
right.
matters, and we're drinking.
And
And
we're
you
all
have
friends here, and we've all showered.
That's right. And you have to go on and check out our website, www.beerbusterspodcast.com.
It's new and improved, and mostly new.
Yes, we just...
and quite a tongue twister, it turns out.
It is, yeah.
We had an awesome photo shoot today, so we have an awesome new cover photo for
That
our
was really well
website.
done.
Yes,
thought
that Wayne
was
just put
turned
up
well.
there. Wayne, you've been doing a phenomenal job with that stuff.
And you know what?
Leave
I
a
have to give a
comment.
shout out to our photographer. Steph's husband, Rich Hefner, was the one that took all the pictures for us. He has such a great skill behind that camera.
Absolutely.
I love the pictures that he takes.
He's also an excellent designated driver.
Yes.
Absolutely, he is. Steph, you made a good call marrying this one.
Yep. Thank you.
And to go on with our social media, we do have a slew of ways for you to get a hold of us. So we have our brand new website, beerbusterspodcast.com. We have our Instagram, which is @beerbusters, also the same on Twitter, @beerbusters. We have facebook.com/beerbusterspodcast, and you can follow us on Untapped, where we are just Beerbusters.
Hey, we're on Google Plus as well.
We are on Google Plus.
We
Thank
are
you.
everywhere.
I knew I was going to leave something out. I really strongly recommend following us on all of these.
Absolutely.
Untapped is a great way to find out what we had. We make sure to check in everything that we review here, and then some extras too. We were checking in some of the Philly Beer Week stuff while we were out.
Absolutely.
And
And we
there's-
also do our new brew reviews on Thursday.
Yes,
I
we
choose
do.
a new craft beer every week, and I rate it, and I type up a little review on Facebook, and then you can toast us on Untapped.
Absolutely. So, my friends, this brings us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters. And let's not forget, it was the great Frank Zappa that said, "You can't be a real country unless you have a beer and an airline. It helps if you have some kind of football team or some nuclear weapons, but at the very least, you need a beer." I am Dan Baker.
I'm Steph Hefner.
And I'm Wayne Baker.
We thank you for joining us for another episode of Beer Busters, and until next time, my friends, we look forward to seeing you again.
Bye-bye.